It's about grief, yes, but it's also about a friendship so deep, so profound, and so lasting that it feels like something out of a movie. We're talking about the unbreakable bond between Jimmy Kimmel and his lifelong friend, Cleto Escobedo II. For over 20 years, we've welcomed Cleto and his band, Cleto and the Cletones, into our living rooms. He was the smiling face, the steady musical hand, and the constant presence beside Jimmy Kimmel. He wasn't just a band leader, he was family. When the news broke that Cleto had passed away on Tuesday, November 11, at the devastatingly young age of 59, the air was knocked out of us. We watched a heartbroken Kimmel try to navigate the impossible, hosting a show while his world had just collapsed. His on-air monologue wasn't just a tribute, it was a raw, vulnerable, and tear-soaked eulogy for a man he'd known since they were teenagers. In the days since, we've all been grieving with Jimmy, and now the heartbreaking new details have emerged, shedding light on the immense battle Cleto was fighting. The fight he fought, we finally have the why, and it is absolutely devastating. According to TMZ, which obtained Cleto's death certificate, his immediate cause of death was listed as cardiogenic shock. In simple, human terms, his heart just couldn't fight anymore. It could no longer pump enough blood to sustain his life. But this wasn't a sudden, isolated event. The report reveals a man who was fighting a war on multiple fronts. The document shows he also suffered from vasodilatory shock, disseminated intravascular coagulation, and alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver. It's a list of heavy, terrifying medical terms that paint a picture of a body under siege. And it didn't stop there. Other contributing conditions included sepsis, graft versus host disease, immunosuppression, chronic kidney disease, and pneumonia. To read that list is to understand the sheer amount of pain and struggle he must have endured. It's a testament to the strength he must have had to show up, to smile, and to bring joy to millions, all while waging this silent, profound battle for his own health. It also puts Kimmel's grief into an even sharper focus. He likely watched his best friend fight this impossible fight for a long, long time. We also learned that Cleto was cremated, a final private farewell for a man who lived so much of his life in the public eye. A friendship forged in Las Vegas. You can't understand the depth of this loss without understanding the depth of their friendship. This wasn't a Hollywood friendship, manufactured for cameras. This was real. Jimmy and Cleto were kids together in Las Vegas. They shared dreams, they probably got into trouble together, and they built the kind of bond that only comes from shared history. When Jimmy Kimmel, against all odds, landed his own late-night show in 2003, he had a million decisions to make. But one of them was a non-negotiable. He wasn't going to hire some slick, established LA musical director. He was bringing his friend. He insisted that Cleto Escobedo II lead the band. It was a power move of pure loyalty. He was telling the world, I'm not doing this without my guy. And for 21 years, Cleto and the Cletones became the soundtrack to the show. Cleto was Jimmy's anchor, his sidekick, and a constant, reassuring presence just a few feet away, night after night. To have that chair, that presence, suddenly and irrevocably empty, is a void that's impossible to comprehend. Turning grief into grace. What do you do when your heart is shattered into a million pieces? How do you honor a life lived so fully? For Jimmy Kimmel, the answer wasn't to retreat. It was to give back, just as his friend always did. On Saturday, November 15, Kimmel announced two major fundraising initiatives, not just to mourn Cleto, but to celebrate him. Cleto was always kind and eager to help others, Kimmel wrote on Instagram. As we mourn his loss, we have started two fundraisers to celebrate his life and give back. The first fundraiser is for the UCLA Medical Center. This is profoundly personal. Kimmel noted that this is where Cleto received such incredible care. You can read between the lines. This is where Cleto fought his final battle. This is where the doctors and nurses did everything they could. This fundraiser is a thank you to them. It's a way to help other vulnerable patients and families in need of financial assistance during hard times. It's the ultimate act of empathy, taking his own pain and using it to ease the burden of others who are sitting in those same hospital waiting rooms, praying for a miracle. The second fundraiser is for the Animal Foundation, back in their hometown of Las Vegas. This one shows us the other side of Cleto. To honor his love of animals, Kimmel wrote, "This choice is so beautiful because it's not about the illness. It's not about the end. It's about Cleto's joy. It paints a picture of a man who found comfort and kindness in animals, and it connects his legacy right back to the place where it all began for two kids from Vegas. A bond that will never break. Cleto leaves behind an aching void, especially for his wife, Lori, and their children, daughter Jessie and son Cruz. But as the tragic details have emerged, something beautiful has happened. Fans haven't focused on the darkness, they've been inspired by the light of their friendship. The comment sections are flooded with an outpouring of love, not just for Cleto, but for the bond he shared with Jimmy. It's all about love, kindness, good friendship, and what we can do for others, one fan wrote. Such a beautiful, incredible friendship of love that will live forever, another commented. This one, though, says it all. The bond that the two of you shared is something many people will never experience. Sending prayers to your family and his. And perhaps the most touching, the world needs more Cletos, and more Jimmy Kimmels, and more epic friendships like yours. Imagine how wonderful that could be. That's the legacy. In a world that often feels cynical and temporary, Jimmy and Cleto showed us what real loyalty looks like. It's a friendship that will, as that fan said, live forever. Rest in peace, Cleto. Our hearts are with Jimmy, Lori, Jessie, and Cruz.